When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore. When you make all them die and you're feeling so high, that's amore. What's up, everybody? This is Team Adventurous. Welcome to Adventurous After Dark. We are your hosts. My name is Zach. This is my esteemed colleague, Caitlin, the delightful and bubbly. Oh, we have a great show for you tonight. But of course, Caitlin, where can they find you and all of our stuff and all the good things?
They can find me and all of our stuff in the description and our link tree and all of that fun stuff. And if you're feeling adventurous, our other channel, of course, you and me and our books and the store. What?
Did someone like put some molasses in your brain?
Maybe. What?
Gonna have to put a candle under you or something, Kate. You're talking at a Christopher Walken pace.
Well, because you looked like you were distracted.
Running pace.
Okay. You looked like you were distracted, like you were needing to do something, and that's why you had me introduce everything. So I was stalling.
You don't need to stall. I was just bringing up the show map. 2 seconds.
Yeah, somebody's a little tired.
Oh man, killing me, Small. Killing me.
Haven't had. Well, neither of us have really had very good sleep.
It has been a week. It has been a week, folks. But we're here, damn it.
We got so much publicity, and somebody died, and oh boy.
Let me give you guys a rundown of what we're doing tonight. Of course, we have Prose Police. That is going to be most likely an every night for time
memoriam.
Words.
Yeah,
words. I swear I know. We have a new segment we're going to be introducing, and it's going to be interactive with you, the audience. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be right after Prose Police. I think you'll very much enjoy that one. We're going to have an installment of Rebel Poet Society because it's the Valentine's Day show. How could we not have an installment of Rebel Poet Society? We're going to be reading something from my good friend Orky. Caitlin has something, and I'm going to be reading for you a poem that will be on my channel come Monday with a nice backdrop video like Pay-Vio's Over Attention, his video 10 Steps to a Happy Life, and like my reply video 10 Steps to a Bitter Death. I'm going to be uploading another video like that on my channel. And then, of course, at the end of the night, we have our discussion segment, We Are Genius, and we are going to be discussing the greatest love stories of all time and what you think those might be. All righty, Caitlin. So, do you have anything to add to that, or should we?
Yeah, we can. Oh, yeah.
Or should we hop in?
Let's hop in, Kuno Insiders.
All right. Do the thing.
All right.
Bad prose, what you gonna do when the Prose Police are coming for you? Bad prose. So, for anyone who might be new, Prose Police is where we take a section of writing, usually first page, because we want to help aspiring authors, people that want to make sure their first page is as polished as it can be, and especially for people who query the Big Five or any publishing house, really, the first page is critical. And so we usually focus Prose Police on the first page. If you want to send something in to us, you can send it to the email linked to this channel, and we can critique any page or any scene. Just say, hey, I want page 500, whatever, you know. But if we default to first page. Today, we are prose policing a very special Breaking Eden by Catherine Francis.
Catherine Francis. And you suddenly went Southern. Oh.
So, for those of you who are unfamiliar, this is a free story over on Wattpad. You can see up in the corner here, Breaking Eden by K.E. Francis. And this is only 12,000 words. We get a word, 1,300. I think we're probably going to do maybe a little over half of it. And we're going to, for those of you who know who this person is, this is going to be entirely professional.
Of course.
Unbiased as possible and as objective as possible, because it is possible to overcome implicit bias. Let's begin.
Mm-hmm.
Breaking Eden, Chapter 1. The road, only it's night. Actually, I believe the chapter title is Officer Hamlin. So, excuse me. Chapter 1, Officer Hamlin. Officer Hamlin couldn't decide what was worse, the hunger eating away at his stomach, or the migraine pounding in his temple. His gaze wavered from the rain-soaked highway and drifted toward the sandwich sitting atop his work bag. As if on cue, his stomach grumbled. He let loose an acid-filled belch that seared his throat and brought tears to his sleep-deprived eyes. That's a whole-ass mood, bro. I've had the same thing happen. Drumming his fingers against the steering wheel, Hamlin made up his mind. A hot meal would have been ideal on this frigid night, but he brushed the thought aside and snagged the sandwich off his bag. He struggled to peel back the foil with one hand before taking a massive bite. A glob of mustard oozed out. It dripped down the side of his hand and spattered onto the leg of his black uniform. God damn it! He swiped at it, smearing yellow deeper into the fabric, and let loose another string of curses. Let's stop the reading there and start. Caitlin, any thoughts?
Well, I would say, since you did mention critiquing people's work for the purpose of TradPub, I would say the first paragraph going into it, it would pass.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't really get. If only it was mayo.
Mayo does come out so much easier.
Yes. But I would say, though, it's really good for setting a mood somewhat as far as the character, but we're not really getting a whole lot as far as who this person is or why we should care about them.
Well, yeah, that's fair, but of course we are only 2 paragraphs in. Now, as far as the first paragraph, first line that you were mentioning, I would say I would agree with the overall assessment that it passes, but I do think there could have been a better hook for that first line. I wouldn't have opened with a line about hunger, especially, let's see, yeah, rain-soaked highway. And we know he's driving down the highway. He has a migraine. I probably would have alluded to why he has that migraine.
Mm-hmm.
Because just saying he's hungry isn't necessarily enough. Does he have the migraine because it was a difficult call earlier in the day? Does he have a health condition? Why that migraine was there might have made for a better hook.
Yeah. And it sounds almost like she was trying to set up to give the mood that this is some kind of an officer out on stakeout or something, but we don't get any of that from reading this. It just has to be deductive assumption, and I think it could have been added in even just a little bit. Like, why is he out there?
Well, we know. Actually, no, we don't know that he's moving. Well, so his gaze wavered from the rain-soaked highway, so we kind of get the idea he might be moving, but we know he's on the highway, and his gaze wavered from the highway, so we definitely get the idea he's driving, and therefore we get the idea he's not on a stakeout. So I would kind of argue with your point there. When I read this first section that we just went over, I would actually say you more so get the feeling that he's driving home for the night.
Okay.
That's,
that may be an issue there.
What?
Because that might confuse people.
Why? And what specifically are you saying might confuse people?
Well, I mean, because it sounded almost like he was stationary, but then.
Well, again, why would if he was stationary, why would his gaze be wavering from the rain-soaked highway to go towards his sandwich? He would just be focusing on his meal.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, my bad. Oops.
So yeah, I think that was an over assumption on your part.
Okay.
So okay, a hot meal would have been ideal, but he brushed this out aside and snagged the sandwich. He go with one hand before taking a massive bite. A glob of mustard oozed out. Yeah, there really isn't anything I want to dig into, and it's all kind of nothing spectacular, but nothing egregious either. Worth just moving on, in my opinion. His head shot up from his lap just in time to spot something staggering out of the trees. The pale form headed right into the path of his speeding patrol car. Hamlin dropped the sandwich. Bread and deli meat fell into his lap as he screamed, "Son of a bitch." He slammed his foot against the brake and jerked the steering wheel to the left, narrowly missing the thing in the road. Then chaos erupted. The patrol car skidded over the asphalt, its headlight cutting through the darkness. It managed a 160-degree turn before slamming into the trees lining the opposite side of the road. The passenger side crumbled, and the windows exploded on impact. Hamlin had just enough time to cover his head as shards of glass pelted his raised arms. First major issue, no, he did not. No, he did not. When you are in, and I can speak from experience, I've been in a few wrecks, not all of them my fault. When you are in a high-speed situation like this, when everything is moving, your instinct is to panic grip the wheel, and if you have any thought left, you are trying to use that thought to consciously get the car under control. You're not raising your arm to protect your face from glass, especially after you just hit the trees and your windows are exploding. You don't have any control because you just slammed into trees broadside going highway speed 60 upwards an hour. You're not moving your arm any which way. Momentum is telling you where you're going. So no, Hamlin did not have time to cover his head as glass rained on him. That didn't.
That's a film trope.
That yes. And I'm glad you mentioned that, Kate, because I looked at this the other day before we decided to do this, And there's another thing about tropes further down that we will get to. Everything was quiet. Too quiet. That's another trope. Lightning, and that's another one. So it's hard to believe that everything is quiet if it's raining and there's lightning.
Yeah.
Kind of made it sound like there was a storm. So which is it? Is it stormy out, or is it quiet? You know,
Or did
quiet storms exist, but they're rare.
Or did he suddenly lose his hearing from the crash?
Which is possible, but if that's what happened, say it. Lightning illuminated the darkness. Moments later, thunder cracked overhead. The clouds opened up and released a torrent of unrelenting rage. I actually, credit where credit's due, I actually like the clouds opened up and released a torrent of unrelenting rage.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that line is pretty, it's pretty poetic. I'm not sure I would have used it yet, but it's not bad. I like the imagery there.
The prose.
Yeah. In the end, the only sounds were of rain against metal and Hamlin's labored breathing. The windshield wipers came to a stop, making it nearly impossible to see past the flooded glass. He squinted into the darkness, trying unsuccessfully to make sense of everything beyond the muddled headlights. Then he fell back against his seat in frustration. Get a hold of yourself, old man. Your goddamn eyes are playing tricks on you. Ain't nothing out there but you and the road. Nothing to be afraid of. He rubbed his hands over his face and sighed, and whatever the hell that thing was. A flash of white skin and dark hair dashed briefly through the beams of dim light. This time, he did see it. He saw all of it. His high-pitched cry echoed into the night. Oh, dear God, what the fuck is going on? Now here's my second major issue.
Mm-hmm.
No one would say that in this situation.
That's true.
Oh dear God, what the fuck is going? You might go, what the fuck, or you might go, dear God. But oh dear God, what the fuck is going on? Who would say that in this situation?
Especially if nothing more serious is happening than a figure darting.
Right. Because there's a perfectly reasonable explanation for shit darting across your headlights. There's deer, there's plenty of animals out in the woods, frankly.
Yeah.
And an old grizzled officer, he'd probably be telling himself, it's just animals, you're seeing shit, get a hold of yourself. He wouldn't be because that phrase right there, that's like something that someone would be saying when they're having a full-on meltdown, in my opinion.
Yes. And he's not at this juncture.
He is not at this juncture. With shaking hands, Officer Hamlin drew his gun and squinted out into the darkness. He almost dared that thing to show itself again, but nothing came. There was only rainfall, the car, and a terrified old man who was 1 year shy of retiring unless he dropped dead of a heart attack tonight. There's your second trope. Now, let me tell you, folks, I personally have no problem with including tropes in your writing. I think that well-executed tropes, even if you don't necessarily do anything unique or subversive with them, as long as they're well-executed, they can still be really enjoyable.
Yeah.
But what I don't like about this right here is that the old detective or cop or soldier or whatever that's about to retire, a week from retirement, a year from retirement, whatever, within sight of retirement, that trope is used to make the audience immediately sympathize with the character in question. It is a trope that is used to cheat building characters and cheat characterization and garner instant sympathy. Mm-hmm. And that is exactly how it's being used here. We know nothing about this guy other than he eats deli sandwiches and he's a little bit reckless of a driver.
Yeah. We've had character description really, aside from the fact that he's wearing a uniform and driving a patrol car. And this is very vague characterization because age of retirement is relative. So,
Right.
how old is this person?
Yeah, retirement age is not a standard thing across the board at all. Some police forces you can retire at 20 years. So if you manage to get in your 20s, you could retire still a relatively young man. So yeah, we still don't know very much about him. Although the thing about the heart attack does age him a little bit more sufficiently, so we get more of a ballpark that he's in his 60s, 70s or so.
Very possibly, but it also lends itself to the fact that he could be having a heart attack because he's scared of whatever is happening. So
Right.
that still doesn't tell us anything about his age.
Now, I disagree. It tells us a little bit, but it's not definite.
It's too vague.
I would agree with that. It is vague. He's scared. So yeah. So that is 2 tropes, and we're what, 600 words in,
Yeah.
and that's two tropes already. He scanned the road with narrowed eyes, then turned toward the gaping passenger side windows. Inky black stared back at him. What are you? A creeping tightness grew in his chest. Oh, where are you? Excuse me, where are you? A creeping tightness grew in his chest. All clear. He fumbled blindly for the handset radio and brought it to his mouth. Licking his lips, he tried to steady his breathing. This is Officer Hamlin. I got a bit of a situation here. He considered requesting a new pair of pants since he just shit himself, but didn't. There was a long stretch of static, then a husky voice filled the silence. Now, I don't buy this. This is, I get why, because I know the author. I know why this was included, but whether I knew the author or not, this would have bugged me. It's not. It doesn't fit.
Yeah.
People who have been on a police force long enough to retire do not shit themselves because they crashed their car and now they're looking at something creepy. These people are people who get shot at, threatened with death, beat up. They're not tender-souled individuals. They don't shit themselves easily.
No. Plus, it's a jolt from the original narrative because we went from third person removed to third person close. This is borderline internal dialogue here. So it's inconsistency in narration.
Yeah, and that's not a cardinal sin in and of itself, but it is something that you have to be careful about, because if you're doing it, there needs to be a good reason you're doing it. And I'm not seeing a good reason to do it. It was just
a developmental editor would flag you on.
Yeah, I agree. And it's a choice you would have to defend to your editor if it was deliberate.
Yeah.
If it wasn't deliberate, you'd be like, oh shit, you're right, and you would fix it. And if you did it deliberately, you'd have to defend it to your editor because your editor would be like, no, it's wrong.
Yeah.
I did it to me a few times.
Your editor would be like, they're all going to laugh at you.
Cat would crucify you. Cat. Anyways.
I love that woman.
Cat's a swell gal. Anyways. There was a long stretch of static. Hit another deer, Hamlin? The woman drew out his name, laughing. No, Doris, I didn't hit another deer. He mimicked her thick Boston accent almost perfectly. Yeah, it's supposed to be a Boston accent, so. You got to work on them sounds, a little asshole, she rebuffed. What's your position? I'll see if we can get someone out to collect you. I'm on the corner of who gives a shit, and I don't fucking know. No.
That is pretty good.
Now, yeah, again, credit where credit is due. That's funny.
That is actually pretty funny.
Credit where credit's due. That's funny. But here's one issue, though. Again, he's an old cop. He would know where he was. He would be able, that's something that they learn how to do right away, the use of mile markers and being able to give your position, because if you do have to call for backup, you'd better be able to give them the exact info right now. So while this is funny, it's not good character building. It's not consistent with how a real world cop would actually function.
And also, the first two things that he would do, having police officers in my family, the first two things that he would do would be to take stock of his injuries and figure out where the hell he was.
Yeah, well, so yeah, that would be a snap thought process as he was reaching for his radio. He would have those things geared to say as soon as he was reaching for his radio, and as soon as stuff was no longer moving, and he was, made sure he wasn't immediately dying, he would reach for that radio. He tried to recall the last sign he passed on the highway, but for the life of him, he couldn't. Was it Riverton or Cadence? You kiss your wife with that filthy mouth? I'd kiss her every goddamn night if I could. God rest her soul. Now, that's a tearjerker. That's a tearjerker. Christ, Hamlin. A momentary silence settled between the two. How long? Hamlin cleared his throat before pressing the button to speak. Been almost a year now. In 4 days at exactly 6:34 a.m., it'd be 1 full year since she left me. And no, the pain never stops. It's there when I wake up and there when I go to sleep. Hey, I fucking know that feeling. Let's see how much we got left here really quick. Yeah. In the end, Hamlin's wife was bedbound and delirious, pumped full of enough drugs to kill a horse, yet barely enough to ease her pain during those final days. Cancer was a bitch like that. It eroded flesh and bone, leaving nothing but death and decay in its wake. It knew nothing of race or gender, because to it, everyone was enough. Again, credit where credit is due. That's actually that last line there. It knew nothing of race or gender, because to it, everyone was enough. That's a pretty good line.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good line. Are you still there, Hamlin? He dragged the back of an old sun-spotted hand across his cheeks and cleared his throat. Yeah, I'm here, he sighed. Anyway, I'm a little outside of Cadence. I think maybe 10 miles. Something came out of the trees. I swerved to miss it, but I must have hit an oil patch because I skidded into. Something slammed into his door, rocking the car against the trees. Because I don't know what hit the car, and because I don't know if this is a supernatural story or what have you, I can't say for sure. But my instinct and my instinctual reaction there is bullshit, because it takes a lot to rock a car just by yourself, even more when it's already braced against something. Holy shit. A hot circle of urine spread through the front of his pants. So you're telling me he shit himself, but he still hadn't pissed himself? Unlikely. Hamlin, what happened? What's the matter? Doris' voice hardened. You answer me, goddammit. You answer me right now. Hamlin's eyes widened at the sight of the pale being outside his window. His heart pounded as he tried to catch his breath. Breathe, you old son of a bitch. Breathe or you're going to die on this road. He brought the radio to his mouth, his voice hoarse as he gasped for air. Doris, I'm going to need an ambulance. He rubbed his tightening chest and squeezed his eyes shut as pain racked his body. Make that 2. I think I'm having a heart attack. He struggled to breathe through the pain. The radio slipped from his tingling fingers and fell against his thigh before slipping to the floor. The pale form stood outside his door, staring at him. It was a woman, a naked one at that, with feral eyes and matted, rain-soaked hair, her dirty hands pressing against the glass. She tried to speak. Her quivering lips worked to form words that would never come. Instead, When she opened her mouth, a scream filled the silence. Thoughts, Kate?
Well, so are we saying that it was the
What?
that hit the car?
I'm sorry, what?
I said, so is it? Are we saying it was the woman that hit the car?
Yes. That wasn't clear to you?
Well, it wouldn't have rocked like that then.
That's why I said, yeah, so that was my point I was making, because, again, I had read this before. And by the end of the chapter, obviously, you would know anyways. So, yeah, if it was just a naked girl in the rain hitting that car, it's not going to rock a car.
No.
You know, so that's why I'm like, I don't know if this is a supernatural story, a paranormal story. I don't know. But if it is a normal girl, which, again, I don't know, it would not rock the car. So that's a conditional critique upon whether or not this is a supernatural story. Anything else?
Considering what I do know of the story as it has been told to me further, this is not a supernatural situation. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, as far as the prose and everything in the chapter goes, I don't think I have too much else to add. Oh, I was just looking at those comments briefly. I get distracted. My bad.
Okay.
So, yeah, not too much to add, except one more thing, and that is... Hang on.
Okay.
You see that cover?
Yeah.
That is the most cliche, typical erotica cover I have ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit. And I know it's for free on Wattpad, but, like, goddamn, that is cliche.
Yeah.
It's like, man, that is every erotica novel ever.
Yes. And speaking of comments, should we go to the comments that are
yes,
relevant to this Prose Police? So,
yay, it's over. I'm curious. I'm curious why you would say that, Nicole.
Yes.
I'm curious what your thoughts are on so highlight what your thought process is there. Today, Junior. Yeah, Caitlin, today, Junior.
Yes. Where's the action? Why is it taking so long? It was from earlier.
Well, oh wait, yeah, that's fair. Should have started with the craft. You know, so I have mixed feelings on that. I see where you're going with wanting to start with the crash. However, sometimes you want to set the scene a little bit before the action-packed thing happens, because if you just immediately start with the crash, then that's it. We know we're a crash.
Yeah.
But if we just start with the guy going down the road, we know anything can happen. He can get a call on the radio. He could stop for something in the road. He could, have an internal dialogue. There's endless possibilities as long as he's going down the road. So that's that's the reader knows that. So that's a thing that you can ply against the reader, so to speak, figuratively speaking. So I can understand the appeal sometimes of starting with an action scene, but I wouldn't necessarily say it should have started that way.
Yeah. I mean, especially
with the exception of having a heart attack, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they were talking about that for it right after the crash, and him seeming like he was okay.
Yeah, and the heart attack for me, I do have to say too,
Because that didn't happen till later.
that's a hard sell. Again, a car crash and a girl smashing into the side of your car is going to give you a heart attack.
Right.
You should have retired a while ago if your heart's in that bad a shape, bud.
Especially, and I mean, how have you been on the force this long if you're going to, relieve yourself on yourself because of these circumstances?
Right. So the whole thing, it was, again, it's not terribly written or anything, but some of the things that the character did and some of the things that happened, it's just not believable.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's very green. It's a sympathy trope, plus show not tell why share it that way.
Why share it that way?
Yes, I would agree.
Yep. Again, it is a sympathy trope, and it was shoehorned into that earlier section because I'm not sure why yet, but we were clearly trying to get as much sympathy points attributed to that character, as many sympathy points, to phrase that with better syntax. We were trying to get as many points going for that character as we could, and we didn't get a payoff on why by the end of the chapter.
Yeah. What's the difference of two different third persons? You mentioned Kate. Okay, so the difference between third person removed and third person close. Third person removed is where you are going around basically like the cameraman for your story. And you're just showing everybody everything without giving any kind of serious internal dialogue as to like their thoughts or their feelings. It's just all played out in action and dialogue and descriptions. Third person close, however, is where the narrator is completely omniscient and is able to read people's minds and their hearts while being able to describe their actions and the settings that these actions are taking place in.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Also would have reached right after the crash, yep, which is what I was mentioning. Ooh, a ghost.
Ooh, a ghost. It's okay.
Squirrel. Just seemed inconsistent. For a forensic major, it was annoying everything they got wrong with the police. Yeah.
Same. Yeah.
Yep, I agree. And I can't claim to have any kind of intimate knowledge of police workings. I've just listened to police interviews, and I pay attention when people tell me about what goes on at police forces and stuff because I find that interesting. But it's nothing I've put any particular study into. Okay, well,
alrighty.
Unless there's anything last minute, Kate, you can do the thing.
Bad prose, what you gonna do when the Prose Police are coming for you? Bad prose.
Yeah.
It will never not be deliciously campy. I was singing along with it at the end.
Same.
Okay. So, folks, like I said, we have a new segment for you tonight. This is a segment me and Kate came up with. This is a callback to our old show back on Kate's channel before we made the second channel. So, Caitlin, if you would run the stinger. Or, hang on.
How would you describe that?
And that was not Kate's voice. That was a recording of Kate's voice so that our visually impaired audience is aware of that.
So it is my voice, but it isn't my voice. But it is. But
it's the voice of you from the past.
Yeah.
Speak into the future. Because that's what recordings are. Okay. I'm sorry. To get back on track here, how would you describe that? In this segment, we take the mundane and make it poetic, and the poetic and make it mundane. So here's how this works. You give me something and I want the audience to think and then give me something here.
Yes, and I said, "Oh, something new and shiny." Yeah.
Always for you, the fans. So I want you, the audience, to give me something that would normally be described in plain language, like go to the fridge and get me a beer. Okay. Or and it doesn't have to be a verb, it can be anything. It can be an object, a verb, a place, something you would describe in fairly mundane language. And then I'm going to describe it poetically. And then you give me something that people would normally describe poetically, like a girl's first kiss, or the majesty of a waterfall, or looking over a great valley from the top of a mountainside. All those things would typically be described somewhat poetically, and I'm going to put them in very mundane, clinical language for you. So, do we have watching paint? Oh, God, that's a toughie. They threw me a hard ball right out of the gate, folks. Okay. Yeah, we can do this.
You can do it. Woohoo! I believe in you.
As I sit here in the dull maroon red room, with its walls glistening with not yet evaporated moisture, the smell of acrylics, and a fresh spring breeze wafting through the air assails my nose as I stare at the wall. What is time? How long have I been sitting here watching this paint dry? Is there truly any meaning in doing this? I was told to by my wife. She said she wanted to get to work on the baby's murals as soon as possible. But as I stand here, watching the luster of the color gradually fade as moisture leaves it, so that it can become a thin shell of color against the drywall, I can't help but think that my time is being wasted. Much like the water wasting out of the paint as it dries. Try harder next time! Okay, a trip to the MV. What's the MVA? Is that Kate? Is that something? MVA.
Is that the motor vehicles agency? I don't know.
That might be that motor. Yeah, is that motor vehicle agency? And give me something. I don't want to do just a bunch of mundane to poetics. Give me something, because let me tell you, the poetic to the mundane is. I can be funny with that one.
Well, okay.
Yes, motor vehicle. Okay, so Kaylin, go ahead and think. I'm gonna give her motor vehicle agency.
Okay.
A trip. Okay.
To the motor vehicle association.
That's all right.
And
okay, so we're gonna do a trip to the MVA, then we're gonna do watching a sunset. Nice. Okay, so here we go. It's amazing what anxiety can do to you. It's amazing the things that will cause it. Many feel anxious when they're about to take a test. Many feel anxious when they're opening their bills. Many still feel anxious simply standing in a crowd. I am most anxious when I'm driving to the MVA. The Motor Vehicle Association, where the government sucks the very life out of your soul, where you tremor in anticipation, hoping to God that these sons of bitches are going to let you out of the parking ticket that you know damn good and fucking well you didn't get because you were clearly behind the red line. And you can't help but wonder, why, God? Why is this me? Why have I been called to suffer in this way? Every 4 years, I have to drive here to renew my license. And that is anxiety enough. So why now must I suffer even more as I hold the thin slip of paper in my hand? I can't help but think the devil is out to get me. This has been Trip to the MVA.
Yes. Brava.
Okay, watching a sunset. All right. I sat down at approximately 5 a.m. I sat there throughout the day, twiddling my thumbs, waiting for the sun to come into the opposite horizon as it crested over the top of my head and fell into the horizon in front of me. My ass was incredibly sore by this juncture, but I was determined. The sun began to set at approximately 5 degrees north-northwest. Staring at it, frankly, was incredibly painful for my eyes and probably caused permanent visual damage. But frankly, I was determined. Staring directly into the sun for the duration of its setting, I was in fact able to determine that the sun is very fucking bright.
Causing permanent vocal damage.
Listen, it fucking burned his eyes so hard that his voice was damaged. Don't you judge me.
No, that just gave me visions of this guy just sitting out on the beach, staring into the sun, going.
He's just sitting there staring at the sun, going, "Ah!" all day. He just does that until his lungs are empty, then goes, "Ah!" I can picture it too. That is hilarious.
That poor butt for watching sunsets.
Oh my ass.
Oh my ass. Oh my god. Oh, going to the underworld.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll do one more before we.
This has to be mundane. So.
That one has to be mundane. Oh yeah, you're right. Because that would normally. Yeah. So.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I died June 5th, 2022. They laid me down in my casket 6 feet beneath the grave. I laid there quietly for a time until I felt something tugging on me. A cold hand wrapped around what I thought was my neck, but would later figure out was in fact my soul. I was then dragged many, many thousands of feet into the dirt. I felt the worms caressing my skin as they slithered about. Then I felt the bedrock slam into the back of my soul. It was then that things started getting really, really fucking hot. It was then that I found I was in the underworld. It turns out that I was, in fact, a huge piece of shit my entire life. And now I was doomed to suffer in the sea of fire. If only I'd paid that parking ticket. Oh, God. Okay. So, yeah, that's the gist of that. That is the gist of that segment. You guys let me know if you think that is a fun little thing to do. It seems like Caitlin enjoyed it.
It's funny. And Lauren asks, tugging what?
Did I say tugging?
Yes, you did say tugging.
Oh, did I say it? Yeah, I was tugging his soul.
Yeah.
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 Damn you, motor vehicle.
Yes.
Right? Condemning people to hell every day.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much. I sincerely appreciate it.
Yeah.
I do enjoy coming up with new segments for you guys, so I'm glad when I get good reception. I'm gonna have to market this around and see how many other people I get to say, yeah, it's great, do more.
Yep, we need
How would you describe that?
Oh, yeah, because then they can send us submissions.
Then they can send us submissions or be here. I would prefer, frankly, that you be in the audience telling me live, because then I get to interact with you. That's how it should be.
Ooh, and then maybe we can get the audience. Right. So yes, of course. Oh, but of course.
Only talking. Yeah, nothing. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, which is funny though. That was you when you said tugging, and the first thing that popped in my head is that where he is going.
Yeah. The Grim Reaper grabbed me by the cockles and dragged me to hell. All right. So it's time for another one of our staple segments. We're going to have ourselves a little poetry night. Rebel Poet Society, baby.
Woo.
Yes, out by the falls. Go to hell.
Go to hell.
Oh, God. Classic. So, I have a few things I want to read tonight, but Caitlin, didn't you?
I did, but you can go first.
Killing that. Okay. Well, here's something. So I actually I'm part of a poetry subreddit, and I found this while I was going in there to talk to people and, do Reddit things such as slowly hate yourself more. Right.
And humanity.
And I stumbled across this poem. I don't know who Aaron Hansen is, but this is apparently by Aaron Hansen. I assume he's a contemporary poet. And unfortunately, I do not know this poem's title, so we'll just say Aaron Hansen. If I read to you a story starting once upon a time, and you realized that it was your life, spelt out on every line, would you hear my voice with wonder as it brushed across each word? And pray my arms had strength to hold the truth about your world. Would your view on life be different? And would it shock you most to find that the things you thought defined you could be summed up in just 2 lines? And all the ones you took for granted, the ins and outs of every day, play a bigger part in who you are than you'd ever dare to say. Would you wonder at the pages left and all the places that they'll lead? Then vow to make each moment one that you'd be proud to read. Because there is a story of your life, but it's you that holds the pen. And I hope you fill the pages right before you reach the end. I encountered that. And thank you, Lauren. Yeah, I encountered that, like I said, on Reddit. Aaron Hansen is the author. I don't know anything about that poet, but I saw that and I just had to share it. I thought it was quite magnificent. Caitlin?
I am somewhat speechless because of how beautiful that was. It was very soul stirring.
Yes. But I was more so saying to go to yours.
Well, not just me. Mason made a request.
Right.
Mason made a request, and he will not see this until the morrow because he is in bed.
Because he is a silly, limey git who lives across the pen.
He lives across the pond. So, yes, we have to do this for Mason. Need to explore Reddit for poetry. Well, see, no, we will explore Reddit for poetry for you so you don't have to lose your faith in humanity. Or you can go to that troll market if you like. It's kind of sort of fun. I don't know. All right. So, Rebel.
Are you ready?
Rebel process.
Okay. Alrighty. Yeah, you have my attention. Go ahead.
I'm Ruth Kate. Not worth the risk. That's right. Look, it's not worth the risk. Really
See,
good.
that's why you're the blind mage. Wisdom. Wise choice, blind mage.
Very, very. Okay, I'm ready.
All right, Precious.
Yep. In the bird. Okay.
Yeah, we're serious intellectuals and poets over here. Where we say in the butt and speak a voice.
Dude, yeah, because, I can have a seriously intellectual conversation while doing this voice, and people will take me so serious, they sure will. No, okay, no. All right, ready?
Okay, you devolved a little bit into chick mud, kind of dial up the depth, go back to speak.
Okay, here we go. So, yeah, okay. Here, yep. I have the roots down into my soul. Do it. Spit, not swallow. I see around there.
Nothing goes to waste in this household.
That's right. All right. Hoo-hoo. All right, here we go. Roots down in my soul and do this. All right, this is for you, Mason. Okay. Shiny, shiny, sparkles bright, twinkles like the stars at night, smooth like ice and hard like burns, hidden under miles of stones. Beautiful, my love, we want the precious, secret, special birthday present. Help us hide and keep it safe from nasty orcs, elves, and men. If they try to take the precious, we will their filthy neck.
That's the whole.
Yep, that's everything. Yep.
That was really good. Short, but really good.
It was very short, but it was very appropriate. And he said, I have to reach down in my soul again, because or else I'll turn into a chipmunk. Anyway, he said that he has been reading The Hobbit.
You're back to chipmunk.
That's what happens because all my air goes back up on the top of my face. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you. Yes. All right.
Okay, now
you have something from Orky.
Yes, I am going. So for those of you who do not know who Orky is, Orky Datter is a Norwegian poet. She's a friend of mine. I've never met her in real life, unfortunately. I would like to. But she is a Norwegian poet. She's kind of famous in India, cool enough. And I reviewed her first book of poetry on my channel. And she's releasing a second one. I'll link you her Facebook page down in the description. And she also has a public Snapchat if you are on Snapchat. But I'll just read it.
She is lovely.
Okay.
Go for it.
This is Orky Datter. Talk to me as I was your cup of chocolate. Dive into my secrets today and tell me if we are going to behave or not. Dig into my aura of ambient tides and sinful kisses, where your lips speak volume and a fire of breathing to destroy my lake of wicked thoughts. My mind's eyes pierce the bottom of your spirit, and my voice is an instrument to play with your heartstrings inside your soul. Deep reflections from my tongue shine on your warm, creamy skin. Your eyes have moved like salsa over my body, exposed to touch my erogenous zones. A primal grinding up and down where the hunt begins, and below where the full of passion thrill ends.
Yeah.
That's Orky. A lot of her work is like that.
Like it.
If I had to give her a nickname, I'd probably call her the horny poet. I love that gal. I consider her a good friend. But she writes some sultry ass poems, and frankly, I'm here for it.
Yes, but it's Valentine's Day.
It is. It is Valentine's Day. That is exactly right. Yeah. So at the end, I will make sure that the link to her Facebook is in the description. She has a book out, Beautiful and Battered by Orky Detter. You can get it on Amazon, and her new book is going to be coming out very soon. I think she said her publisher was going to try to get it out by summer. I think she said it's coming out this year. I think she said by summer. So yes, definitely. If you like poetry, please check out my friend. She is quite talented and a beautiful soul.
Yes, she's lovely. And I am not going to read this one in Smeagol.
So you have one more, and then I have one more, and then we have one. Excuse me, we do have one from author Lauren Adele as well. That will be the last one. Or actually, I think I'll read hers before mine, and mine will be the last one.
Yep. Yeah. So you can bring us up at the end. Okay. Ready? Oh my god. Okay, here we go. Yeah, because all you said was Kate can do something. So, this is me doing something.
Okay.
I don't know. No, it's not really. This is me reading a poem. Anyway, Kate, someone to hold things safely in a tender place, to enclose you to my welcoming bosom, soft and supple, in my warm embrace. Lay your regal head upon my breasts and listen to my heart, the rhythm, a secret, sacred song that plays only for you. Its yearning, ineffable, pounding, creating unquiet art. In your strong arms, I enwrap myself, surrendering to the rapture of your kiss. Our tongues and bodies intertwining, with none but me, you will ever know such bliss. Our spirits rising, like the heat between us, climbing faster, faster. Is there a closer place to heaven than this? Your passion all consuming, driving me to madness. I let you take the lead. Gleaming muscles, reassuring and rippling like a mighty steed. The screams of my surrender, the signals of my body, you heed. In this Elysian tango, my flesh clings to my soul, no more now than a specter, as you quench your thirst and feed your own with my sweet nectar. Ta-da! I will see your Orky and raise you a Kate.
Yeah, I mean, that's just as horny as anything I've ever read from Orky. Yes.
And now everybody go read Gehenna, because I do write smut, but it's classy.
That was quite beautiful, Kate.
Thank you.
That was quite good. God, now I'm almost embarrassed to read what I'm going to bring out. Oh man, my thing is so pedestrian compared to that. Almost not pedestrian. Is not. Yeah, pedestrian.
Whatever.
Anyways, okay.
You
Really
picked
quick.
pedestrian.
I'm not going to say really quick because I'm not going to rush through it or anything. But next, we have author Lauren Adele down there in the comments. She sent me this. This is The Sea Witch by Nicole the Blind Mage. And both of them, fellow adventurers, go subscribe to their YouTube channels as well. They are both here on YouTube, and they are swell individuals. The Sea Witch by Nicole. Human. Sorry. Hang on.
What?
My tongue just tried to tie itself in a knot when I tried to articulate that word. That was weird.
It's like human is a filthy word.
Yeah, just spit it out. Humans. Okay, but no, seriously. The Sea Witch by Nicole, the Blind Mage. Humans always wonder what life is like beneath the waves, dreaming of a magical world full of merfolk. Oh, how delusional humans can be, not realizing how alike we are. Men in control, while women bow to their every whim. Rebellion leads to isolation and the loss of a throne. Forced to hide in the depths of the sea, becoming the mermaid's boogeyman. People cowering away from you in fear, seeing you as nothing more than a monster. Misunderstanding magic, seeing it as another form of evil. Yet desperation leads fools to my doorstep, seeking spells for quick fixes and happy endings, expecting these miracles for free, not comprehending that a payment must always be made. Why must I be denied this same arrangement? Rejected the opportunity of reclaiming my throne. Even with my magic and aid to those below. They will never see me as royal, just a hag, forever trapped under the waves. That's one of those poems that's not, it doesn't really rhyme, and it doesn't really have any particular, it would fall under free verse.
Yeah.
And I would have liked, I think there were a few places where there was an opportunity to do it with a rhyme structure.
Yeah.
And that would have personally enhanced it for me. But overall, it's not bad, of course.
Yeah.
And I especially can't knock it too much because I have plenty of free verse poetry in my catalog.
Yeah.
So, not bad overall. And I'll tell you this too, some of the lines did not go where I would have gone, and it surprised me. Like, so one thing, so here in the middle, it surprised me. The rest of the poem was kind of leaning me towards one flavor of poeticism. Is that a word? Could that be a word?
This is a word.
But then we had people cowering away from you in fear, seeing you as nothing more than a monster. And the other words that were used to ply a poetic voice in the poem before the word monster, it's kind of hard to explain, but like in my brain, in word bins, all of those other words were in a different flavor of poetic bin, and monster is over here in this other flavor of poetic bin.
Yeah.
So that was, for me, that was a nice variance of some of the flavor that I got in terms of my interpretation of poetry. And and then here we get, yet desperation leads fools to my doorstep, seeking spells for quick fixes and happy endings. And that, then right there we get that this person has been shunned, rejected, abused, and yet people are still asking for their help, which is, so not only have they shit on you, but then they still expected you to help them. And that's like, man, that sucks. But it was conveyed so, there's a simpleness to this poem that is part of its appeal. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I got serious. Poor unfortunate souls vibes.
I see it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, yeah.
Especially because this comment right here. Ursula is the best Disney villain.
Yeah, I thought it might be about Ursula. I had that feeling. Yes, it was. Very, very sultry poem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. So,
All right. Let me read you mine. This is a poem I wrote after I was
yeah.
we'll just use the word ghosted by a love interest. And the video for this is going to be up on my channel on Valentine's Day. So, today I ate gyoza. Zach Pieper. Today I ate gyoza because I thought of you. I saw it there on the menu, and I thought about you. So I ordered, and it came, and I ate because I thought of you. And I compared it to yours, and I ate them by scores, having pleasant thoughts of you. And I wish that I could eat yours again and have you teach me to make them. And I wish you knew how grateful I was when you made them. Today I ate gyoza, and soon I'll have it again. So yeah, it's no what Kate wrote, but you know, it's a little sad boy poetry.
Lovely though. It was not pedestrian.
Bittersweet Zach needs a hug. Got the flavor. She got the flavor.
Yes.
That's exactly right, Lauren. Thank you. It is bittersweet. That makes me happy. Alrighty. So, this has been Rebel Poet Society. What happened there, folks, is both me and Kate clicked the sticker independent of each other at the exact same time. Oh, man.
Great though.
That was funny. Alrighty. So again,
Versus.
hugs and candy on V-Day. There will be no hugs for me. And unfortunately, I'm trying to watch my sugar. This is the only sugar I allow myself, so I'll just have one of these on Valentine's Day. Okay, I needs my caffeinated sugars, or else I'll lose my brains.
Yeah. I'm highly caffeinated, and
Well, you know, you gotta be caffeinated. That way, you can be depressed at high speeds. All right, so that was Rebel Poet Society. Again, you can submit anything you want to for us to read for Rebel Poet Society. We will give you full credit. You can also submit, you know, published poetry, and we'll read it and give you our thoughts on it and all that good stuff. You can send it to adventurouspublications@gmail.com, linked in the About section of the channel. All righty, let's move into the final segment, the way we end the show. I just wanted to let y'all know that we are a genius. It's the greatest fucking love story of all time, man. What the fuck is that?
Greatest love story of all time. Well, Mason submitted that it is actually Lord of the Rings, because Frodo and Sam have one of the greatest, most unsung love stories of all time.
You know, I don't think it's unsung because of the entire internet. So there's two camps on the internet. Well, three. There's three camps on the internet, Caitlin. There's the Sam loves Frodo and they're totally gay with each other camp, and they like it. There's Sam loves Frodo and I think they're gay for each other, and that's an insult. And then this third camp over here is like, no, they're best friends, and they're a totally platonic romance. Stop imposing on them. And so everyone falls unless you're in the what the fuck is Lord of the Rings camp, and then we don't dissociate with you.
Okay, who are you? Where have you been? And please go back there in gasoline-soaked britches.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think no, I gotta disagree with Mason on that one. Here's why. If I may sound a little bit like a Christian fundamentalist for a second. I personally believe that the greatest love that can exist is the love between a man and a woman. And so while Frodo and Sam's love is absolutely beautiful, true brotherly love, not the greatest love story of all time. Not at all. What do you think, Kate?
Well, I mean, I guess friendship is a type of love, though.
Friendship is a type of love. But I'm just saying, my personal belief is that there's something unique about the love between a man and a woman.
Well, yeah.
I think that romantic love is the most powerful type of love.
It's one of them.
So then we disagree.
I mean, because love is a multifaceted thing.
Smeagol did not love the precious. He was obsessed and possessed by the precious.
Tomato, potato, dildo.
Is that the greatest love story of all time?
Tomato, potato, and a dildo. was a tomato and a potato got together, and then they had a baby, and it was actually a dollar.
No, because Potato went to a bar, picked up Tomato, and at Potato's house, he had a dildo.
Gotcha. Mobile. To the pretty in the bed.
I can't take you anywhere, Caitlin.
You say that every time, but you still do.
Killing me small.
So, what would
I would argue, and this might sound a little bit wacky, but follow me on this one.
Okay.
I think the greatest love story of all time is Adam and Eve.
Really?
Yes. Are you waiting for me to explain?
Yes.
Okay, so
That's general.
when you think about it,
I can't take the color.
when you think about it,
Uh-huh.
the story of Adam and Eve, and you don't even need to, believe in Christianity or God for this one, so you just think about the story. The story in Adam and Eve is the story of the first man, first woman, coming into a world that was made for them. It was perfect in every way, and all they had to do was exist, be happy, and love each other.
Yeah.
Then one of them caused the other to fall into sin, and they did not go on a downward spiral. They saw that they had done something bad and self-corrected. So they then took their punishment, were exiled from paradise, and went forth and became the two most fruitful human beings to ever exist, birthing the entirety of human civilization.
Mm-hmm.
So their love brought them into a new world, unsure, unknowing. It took them down into the depths of knowledge where all their innocence was lost and made them build a new world for themselves to live in.
Mm-hmm.
All of it, the two kept together by their love for each other. So yeah, what greater love story is there than that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, or to go sort of in theme with this, there is a passage that is said. It says, "Greater love hath any man than this, that he would lay down his life for his friends." Stories that have that through line in them, I find to be great love stories.
Yeah, I can understand the argument there.
Yeah, but to be in theme and actually pick a story, I would have to say probably the one that has stuck with me since I was a kid, and I mean little kid, was Beauty and the Beast. That's my favorite.
I do love Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
I love Beauty and the Beast so much, folks. First of all, my entire novel is a rehash of it in a sense. But so Beauty and the Beast, they are in the Kingdom Hearts video game, and you find this quote from Beast not in any of the movies or Disney TV shows. It's from the same voice actor. Thank God, because no one else can play Beast.
Yeah.
And so this is a quote from Beast in the game Kingdom Hearts. I came here to fight for Belle. I won't leave without her. And that is at the beginning of my book. It is literally the first page. That's how much I love that story.
And I love it because it really encapsulates, I think, so many elements of what love really is in a way that a lot of stories, especially ones that have been, overtaken by Hollywood and stuff, don't.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying, and I agree.
Because as much as they want to stand on the, the platform of, oh, well, you should look past, people's imperfections and their flaws and stuff and love them unconditionally, they still in their realm of storytelling, after having taken ownership of, romance, are all like, well, no, you still have to, put people on pedestals and, hold them up to, expectations and all of these things. And people don't realize that, if you're searching for love and validation from people, through expectations that either they put on you or you put on them, you're just going to drive yourself crazy. Instead of just being like, hey, you know what? Love means to, well, set them free, which means to allow them to be themselves completely, uninhibited, and be like, hey, you know what? I'm here to love you by way of, matching you, challenging you, and being there for you no matter what no matter what your flaws happen to be or whatever, that can be worked through, but you are a person that deserves to be loved. And that's all that matters. Because all of this is temporary. So when they get old, they're not going to be like they were, back then, and neither are you. So it's very important to make sure that you love who it is mentally and emotionally and whatever before you make the decision to, I don't know, promise yourself to that person and love them unconditionally.
And so how are you tying this back to Beauty and the Beast, Kate?
Well, Beauty and the Beast, because he was at his very worst, like the very worst that he possibly could have been. And she decided to love him anyway. And I think that that's what that represents, is that you can still be like, hey, you know what? It doesn't matter that you are, completely at your worst. I am going to decide to love you regardless. And you never know, that may be just the thing that actually brings that person out of that. Not saying that happens all the time, but yeah.
See, and from the male's perspective, I've always loved the Beauty and the Beast because, like you were talking about, Belle accepts him exactly as he is.
Yeah.
Very flawed. and no obvious reason to love him. But she accepts him. And when she accepts him, he comes to realize that he can relax around her.
Mm-hmm.
And then his better nature comes out because he wants to impress her.
Mm-hmm.
And he transforms as he tries to learn how to impress this person who has accepted him.
Yeah.
And he quickly becomes truly a better person.
Yeah.
All because someone showed him love, at least basic human love, and that gave him a chance to let love transform him.
Yeah.
And as you begin to love someone, it's only amplitory. And you see the transformative nature of love take hold in that story. That's the real beauty in that story, I think.
Yeah. Oh, the great thing about love is one of those things that falls into the principle of what heals can hurt, what cures can kill.
Yep. Yeah, there's a great quote by Benjamin Franklin on that.
Huh?
Yeah, God. He was, I think it was something like, to assure oneself with logic is to poison oneself with the antidote. Or was it
Mm.
to have blind faith? It was something like that. You get the point, though.
Yes.
You know, anyway.
It's like love is the only thing that can kill you and still keep you alive.
Oh, I don't know. The anger did it for me for a few years. You know, here's a comedic love story that I think it's not the best one of all time, but it is underrated. Is 50 First Dates with Adam Sandler in it. Yeah. That is truly the story of a man who is willing to do whatever it takes to make someone understand that they love him. Or that he loves them. Excuse me. But yeah, man, that was one hell of a crusade of love that fucking character went on.
Yeah. Well, it would have, had it gone the other way that you Freudian slipped that, it would have been like a stalker.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Just creeping head around the corner. Do you love me yet?
Do you love me yet?
You can get a call in the middle of the night. Hello?
You love me.
Do you love me yet?
I feel like you're going.
You walk out to your mailbox in the morning, open your mail. It's just it's a letter. It's a letter. No, no address, no name on the envelope. You open it, you unfold the note, and it's words. Do you love me yet?
Do you love me yet? Oh my god.
And even the restraining order never stopped. Do you love me yet, Dave?
Oh my gosh.
Which is funny because wasn't that even his name in 50 First Dates? Was David?
What is his
Adam
name?
Sandler's character?
I think so. It's been a minute since I've seen
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's a killer movie, though.
Yep. I love
that is a killer movie. What about you, Nicole, Lauren? Do you guys have any thoughts on the greatest love story of all time?
Yes.
Anyone else in the comments? You're welcome to chime in on that too.
Exactly.
Yeah, I have. I don't have. What I meant to say. I don't have many things that I think truly contend for that.
Mhm.
Oh, maybe my book.
Right.
If I could just be an arrogant bastard for a second here, but no. On a serious note, another great love story that it doesn't get any credit as being a love story, but fundamentally it is a love story,
Mm.
and it's Red Rising by Pierce Brown.
Yeah.
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 People think that's a sci-fi action war series. No, that's a sci-fi romance
Mm-hmm.
because the entire story is about him losing his wife and deciding to rebel against a interplanetary empire
Mm-hmm.
because they killed his wife. And I mean, how much do you have to love a woman to topple empires for her? To undergo many hundreds of hours of genetic reconstructive and mutative surgery, to have to relearn how to use a body,
Yeah.
walk into a den of snakes for a few years while you learn to stand amongst the people who are oppressing you, a sheep in wolf's clothing, having to worry about if you get caught, they'll torture you and cry at you and do everything they can to make you talk, which is a lot,
Yeah.
only to make it through that scenario, make it into the very top of the power structures of that empire, all never letting the power corrupt you, never letting your friendships with the people who used to be your gods corrupt you, always holding your single-minded goal of avenging your wife's murder in your heart. And he does. He
Yeah.
topples a fucking empire over a beautiful little redhead.
Yep. Well, I mean that. Why do you think it is so many people? I think somebody made a post not that long ago, something about um, I don't want to be loved by the typical Hollywood leading man. I want to be loved by someone who's like the supervillain because they would be obsessive enough that they would burn the whole world down for a last kiss.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Need that kind of energy.
Yep, that's that Gomez Adams energy.
Yes, which I absolutely adore. It's
yeah, and that rat is also, by the way, folks, another great love story.
Yeah.
Gomez Morticia Adams, man.
Oh,
That's that marriage I want.
that's that like power couple, like good shit. That's like just yeah. Be like in the middle of a was it like an auction? What it was that fundraiser, and they were selling the Chinese finger trap.
And they just started making they started one-upping each other's bids and making out viciously in the fucking
yeah. And then like the camera pulls away and you just see everyone else's face, like everyone else's faces, and it's like, oh no, they're doing it right there in the middle of the auction. I'm like, yes.
Getting it in.
Oh my god, I really like
oh my god.
My god. Or I love how she was all like, oh, how did she put it? She was like, she said, you were mad, completely unhinged. like some desperate, howling demon, and you frightened me. Do it again.
And it was for me. I remember that scene because as like a 9-year-old boy, I was like, "Oh, that's what I want."
Yeah.
She said that to him in this sultry, feminine lilt. She was like, "You were desperate, like some kind of howling wild demon. You frightened me. Do it again."
Oh my god. Plus I also love the whole like the original TV show with Sean Astin's dad, and I want to say I can't remember her last name, but her first name was Carolyn. The original Morticia, and she was absolutely lovely and the most ferociously kind person you would ever meet.
So I've seen pictures of the first one, and you're right. The woman was gorgeous. You know what I liked about when I found out that was the first Addams Family and that she was Morticia before the second one that we were just describing? I liked that, except for the difference in facial structure, because the first one had a rounder face and the second one had an older face.
Yeah.
Other than that, the second one could have just been an older version of the first one because they were equally beautiful. Their hair hung just the same. They had the exact same build and body type. It was just
the face
difference in, like, the first Morticia's face was round like Caitlin's, and then the second was more square like mine, except her jaw was more angled.
Yeah, but what I loved about the original the TV show was John brought up the idea, and the director and the producers kind of had to run buffer between them and the network because they were one of the first TV shows where John, when he came in to play Gomez, he was like, we don't need to be like, the Leave It to Beaver family because it wouldn't be very believable. He said, these people have children. It needs to be believable that they were capable of making these children and that they could just get delivered in a box by like FedEx or somebody. He was like, so, they turned up, the whole like passion and everything in their chemistry. And so he ad-libbed so many different things like, when was it the last time we waltzed? And she just always had this lovely like tie-in where she was like, it's been hours, and it was just
that is beautiful.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, I love this.
Yeah. I might have to change my answer. Maybe Gomez and Morticia's the
Morticia, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wouldn't say it's the greatest love story of all time, but there's a love story that came out of Japan, and it was in a video game. And that is the love story of Zach Fair and Eris Gainsborough. And if you haven't played FF7, the quick rundown is this. They met in their hometown, and now going to have to watch the Adina Fair.
Oh, she means the Addams Family.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, so yeah, Eris Gainsborough, Zach Fair, they met in their hometown, and Zach ran off to join the military, essentially. And Eris kind of kept her love for him in her heart. And even after Zach died and his consciousness was implanted in someone else, Eris could feel Zach and sense him. And when she met this second person, she sort of fell in love with him right away because Zach was living on inside that person in a very literal sense. And that just felt to me like a story of a woman who was in love with a soul, not a body.
Yeah.
And it's a story about a love that transcended death. And yes, Eris does die, but that's not the important part of the story, because that part makes me cry.
Very sad. I know.
I legitimately, I shit you not. When I first played the game through, the first time I made it through,
Yeah.
when that happened, I cried, like tears streaming down my face. And I was quiet and quite regal about it, I'm proud to say.
Yeah.
But I was just like someone had just killed my puppy in front of me, but I had a gun to my head not to do or say anything. And so I'm just sitting here in agony, tears streaming down my face as my first childhood crush sinks to the bottom of this crystal clear lake. Oh, it broke my little boy heart.
Oh. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. Love on a soul level is always the best.
What was that?
I said love on a soul level is always the best. They always make the best stories.
Beauty fades.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we get all old and wrinkly. You know.
Don't remind me.
Well, I mean, you could be like Vincent Price. Well, this guy, I think he was like 81 or something, like when he finally passed away. But he said when they asked him what advice it was that he had for young people and I think it was young creative people, he said, old age, avoid it if at all possible.
Yeah. Fucking old man. So, Caitlin, we're pushing 140. It's past time to wrap up. It's supposed to be a 90-minute show. Damn it.
Darn it. Oh, well.
But you just spend so much time making me laugh and having a good time with you and the audience.
Time flies when having fun. I didn't even see what time it was. So yeah.
So, dude. Oh, yeah. Happy Valentine's Day, y'all. Thanks for being here tonight. Share the show around. You know what? You cannot know how much it helps us to just show it around. Give us a comment and a like on the video. And yeah, thanks for being here. This has been Team Adventurous. Greatest love story ever told. And yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Lauren. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
We really do.
We will see you guys on Wednesday.
We'll see you on Wednesday for the Wednesday Write-a-thon. Oh, yeah. And I'll see you on my channel Monday because you're going to go there and you're going to watch the video of me reading Today I Ate Gyoza because I put the work to edit the video and make gyoza today and the whole night.
You have reading on Sunday.
Yes. Thank you, Caitlin. And tomorrow we're reading the next chapter of my novel, Garden of Life. So you got to be there for that.
Yeah. So, all right. Are you clicking thingy or me clicking thingy?
I will do the thing.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Dun, 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 dun.